Hey everybody, welcome to You've Seen This, Right? I'm Mike. I'm joined here by Andy and Eric, as always. This is actually the first episode that we ever recorded in the summer of 2025, which is relevant because we mentioned it being the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and we are deciding that this being 4th of July is a great time to release this one. So, without further ado, here we go.
It's like the prequel.
Indeed.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen This, Right? Where three guys try to fill in the gaps in their movie watching repertoire. But this is a project that we've been wanting to do for a while. This one at least has kind of a little bit of a purpose to it because we sit and we talk about movies.
One of us three has not seen yet.
Yeah,
I love movies.
Well, same, like we all do, but we all kind of seem to sort of have our own weird sort of diverging paths.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you'll come to me and talk about movies that are like high profile, very artsy, very like I'm not saying that like in a meaning way, but like you.
Sure.
You are someone who likes to dig deep into catalogs of movies.
I'd love to watch some of the Archers films with you guys, like The Red Shoes or The Meaning of Life and Death, these cool British movies from the 40s.
I have no idea what you're talking
about.
You're
speaking a different language to me.
Yeah.
And that's going to be kind of the exciting thing. Like, you know, and of course, I hope there's going to be some prime comedy when we talk about movies that, I mean, I'm excited to talk about Commando.
I've never seen Commando. I'm down.
I've
down
seen
to
it.
give it a look.
I've seen it, but I don't back Commando.
I back Commando. I love it. I absolutely adore that movie.
Commando.
That is going to be a headbutting episode. We are starting off our entire podcast journey with one of the greatest films ever made. Typically at the top of most top 100 films ever made lists. 1975's Jaws, the quintessential killer shark movie. Spielberg
The first blockbuster as well.
Gave birth to the entire summer blockbuster. I believe this was Spielberg's first movie outside of Duel, which was a made-for-TV film that actually has a lot in common with Jaws. We can talk maybe a little bit about that. But, Mike, you are the one. You haven't seen this, right?
Yeah, for some reason, this is one of them that's just kind of slipped through the cracks for me. I never assumed that I wouldn't like it. I just hadn't gotten around to it yet. It's one of your personal favorites.
I think if you talk to most people, like it's definitely one of my personal favorites. Eric, where would this stand?
Cinematic history is how I would describe it.
A fascinating movie because the movie itself is fantastic and the making of is almost as
100%. Yes,
like the amount of documentaries and the amount of history involved in the making of.
I've seen people recreate miniatures of the shark underwater.
There is an insane amount of history to this movie. So I guess just to kind of give a quick summary, like I said, me and Eric, we've seen this movie. I remember us watching it many times during sleepovers.
Oh, many times.
When we were young.
Many times.
Yeah, Mike, I just want to know, what did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. Before I jump into what I think of it, though, I kind of want to talk about my relationship with this movie before having seen it.
Yes.
It's one of those things where you talk about it being cinematic history, and there are a lot of moments of this film that I've seen, but I've never just sat and watched it before. The Bad Hat Harry, you're going to need a bigger boat. Even the climax of it coming out of the water and shooting the tank, they're all things that I know about and have seen.
Have been parodied numerous times across media.
Or just in general reference. I mean, there's a section of the video game Resident Evil 2 that is a direct Jaws reference with the giant alligator. You put the air tank in its mouth and shoot it to kill it.
Okay, this is going to sound insane. It never came to my attention that was a Jaws reference. I think because
it's in such a different context.
Well, and I think of the movie Alligator more so, which is one of the more iconic Jaws ripoffs, and doing kind of the air quotations because while it is a Jaws ripoff, I mean...
Inspired by?
Well, clearly inspired by, but obviously doing something different like that movie. But we can talk about that movie as well. Like, Jaws pretty much gave birth to the entire concept of
Big
the
scary
shark
animal
movie. The shark movie.
The shark movie.
In particular, but also... Because when animal attack movies were very popular in the 70s and continued to... I mean, it's mostly sci-fi dreck nowadays. But you still occasionally see some genuine attempts at making like animal-based sort of horror films.
Sure.
One of the things, going back to how I'd kind of soaked in things about the movie before having seen it. There were a few really famous shots, like the dolly zoom on the beach when the little boy gets eaten and it cuts to Roy Scheider's face, and you have that amazing dolly zoom that's really, really tight. But right before that, there was a really great diopter shot when the other guy comes over and he's talking to him about, hey, I got this thing you need to fix with me, and you get him in focus, but also the kids in focus in the background, because he's trying to pay attention to both. It's a really cool shot. But I made a few notes as we were watching it about things that I did not know going into it that I thought would be really interesting to point out or talk about.
Yes, please do.
Real early shot when they find the young girl's body on the beach, and it's that close-up of her hand sticking up out of the seaweed, and it's covered with the little crabs that are just kind of picking away at it. It's a really horrific shot.
Yeah.
It's
tame, though.
It's very tame to now's standards, yes.
Like,
nowadays.
It's insane how, again, this movie, realistically, if you compare it to a lot of, like, horror movies, not as bloody as...
No.
Like, there is blood. Like, I think
sure.
Mike, you summarized it best when we were talking about it. Like, the movie keeps its cards kind of close to its chest, but when it goes for it, it puts the pedal down and it goes for it.
Well, it's also really interesting where they choose to use gore and where they choose not to, because they only use it if they're trying to build tension. They never use it as a gag or a laugh.
Right.
And a really good example of that is when they're cutting open the shark and he takes out the license plate and tosses to him. It's perfectly clean. Like, it does not look like it was in the gut or the flesh of any living thing, because they're not trying to play that as a joke.
No,
they're letting the joke speak for itself, and they want the violence to feel violent. Another cool thing that I saw that I really liked was when you meet the mayor and they're on the ferry and the camera is in that fixed position, you're getting those dynamic shots with the ferry moving, but everyone is
the camera never moves. The camera stays absolutely still. It's the ferry that's moving.
They move on the ferry and get closer to the camera, and it makes a very dynamic scene with a technically still camera, but it is in motion the whole time.
Right.
That's the crazy thing about this movie is, like, it makes so much out of kind of nothing.
It makes a lot out of nothing. Take the barrels, for example. You can use the barrels as their own story just by themselves.
Well, if you want the best example of, I think, like, contextual sort of storytelling in the movie, one of the most terrifying scenes to me that has genuinely... One of those things that I think about that shakes me to my absolute core is the Shark and Christmas Dinner, where those two dopes are on the dock. That is one of the scariest goddamn scenes in cinema.
There's a lot of tension in that.
Like, and it's just, and you're just watching a dock.
Yeah. But you're watching a dock that you don't know what's attached to it because you never see anything. And all you see is the dock turning around and heading back towards the shore.
And it's crazy to think that a lot of that was brought about because of creative filmmaking, because
the shark didn't work.
The shark had the shark notoriously had a lot of problems.
Well, it's not just that. It's also... It's priming you as an audience member for the climax with the barrels. To see the idea of we're tracking how the shark moves underwater by focusing on something it's attached to on the surface.
Right.
I never pieced that together. That's actually really interesting. Yeah. See, that's what I love about this movie. Every time I watch it, because I've seen this movie probably more times in more formats than any other movie in my life, because we went to a viewing of it. I forget what anniversary, because obviously it's the 50th anniversary, I believe, this year of Jaws. 50 years of making people terrified to take baths or go to the bathroom.
Or go to the beach. Or the ocean.
Anything. It just lets you know, hey, stay out of the water.
Yeah.
But we saw it in the original film format. We saw it at the drive-in.
I didn't see it at the drive-in.
Yes, you did. You were with us. We saw that in Jaws too. It was a double feature at the Kingery drive-thru. I remember because you were so excited. We were going to the drive-in to watch Jaws. I'm gonna have to.
I'll take your word for it.
I mean, you should, because you were there. I know, because we had lawn chairs. We snuck in some liquor,
of course,
and we had some good times watching Jaws in the drive-in, and it was great. But I don't know, the movie just...
Eric's saying, I remember the lawn chairs and the liquor, but I don't remember Jaws being present.
Well, we went to a lot of drive-in movies that year. It was fantastic.
It was pre-pandemic, too. The drive-in,
that was years ago.
Well, the drive-in was just a cool thing to do.
It was. It was an awesome screen, too.
It was, too. I saw Creepshow there. Oh, wait, no, that was the Sterling Drive-In. That was interesting. And we saw the statue of Ronald Reagan with peanuts.
Nice.
That was an interesting night. So I guess, Mike, where would Jaws rank to you? Do you think it lived up to the hype?
I really liked it. I have a really hard time ranking movies.
I mean, I guess as far as it goes, then would you say that all of the I personally try?
Oh, it's absolutely worth the praise that it gets
Okay.
for sure.
Because I know things can be overhyped.
You know,
Stuff like that.
I think one thing that we've been focusing on the notoriety that the film has and the technical aspects, but those things don't matter if the story isn't solid.
Yeah.
And this has a really solid, tight story.
Yeah, I mean, every time I watch it, I'm always amazed when I realize more details that I didn't know. Funny side story. I busted out my Jaws Blu-ray, the 100th anniversary collector's series that I got back in 2012 for this, that has like a little booklet in it. But we loaded it up. We had a power surge.
Yeah, there was a power surge.
right at the iconic,
The beach dolly
You
shot.
can't
Beach
plan this.
And it's like, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And then we had it freeze right after the iconic, you're gonna need a bigger boat line. So it's been
The
kind of
very
fascinating.
next shot, it
But
froze.
something I'm amazed about with this movie is that every time I watch it when it's like in a different quality, the more I notice. Because I don't think I actually noticed the amount of shooting stars in the movie until we saw it in the actual film format when we went to the theaters. Like, I don't know, the amount of detail in this movie is insane. And actually, Mike, something in particular I wanted to ask you about. When we were watching it, it was during Three Men on a Boat. That can pretty much describe the movie. You said there were a lot of subtleties to Robert Shaw's performance, so I just kind of wanted to get more of your info on that.
Yeah. Do you want to jump into performances, like everybody's performances now? And
I mean, sure. I'll admit, I don't know too much about these actors outside. I know who these actors are, but I was going to say, Roy Scheider, he was in the French Connection, right?
No, that was Gene Hackman.
It was Gene Hackman.
Why am I thinking he was in some sort of...
He was in All That Jazz.
Maybe it was. The funny thing is, like, this movie is where I know all these actors from.
Right.
Like, I know
Well,
Richard Dreyfuss
has been in a lot of stuff.
I mean, the only other movie I can think about him with him in it, and it's mostly him playing a parody of himself, is Piranha 3D.
He's got more than that.
I know he does, but it's like, it's funny that when I think of Richard Dreyfuss, I think of two movies.
Poseidon
Jaws.
Adventure?
Poseidon? Oh, wait. No, he was in the remake.
Yeah, the remake. Oh, yeah, sorry, the original and the remake. The original with Gene Hackman.
The original with Leslie Nielsen.
Yes.
That's why the Poseidon crashed.
That's why.
You put Frank Drebin in charge of a cruiser.
That's what happened.
What do you expect is going to happen? But, yeah, brilliant performances. I think, actually, one of my favorite moments is when Mike, we're watching the movie, and one of the best Jaws side characters, I think, who actually is in other Jaws movies, he's in the second one, is Officer Hendricks.
Yeah, he's just a doofus.
But he's like
every time lovable. But every time you see him, he's just like not handling what he's supposed to be doing very well. The first time you see him, understandably so, he's very shaken by finding the body on the beach with
Poor
the whistle.
Chrissy Watkins,
Yeah.
And
you know?
that also shows how, before they say it later, that shows you how infrequently the police encounter violence on the island.
At Amity Island,
Chief
yeah.
Brody said, what was it, 25 years? There's never been a murder
Yeah,
or
he
like
said
a
that,
robbery. I don't know.
He even asks where the signs for beach closed are, and he said, we never had them.
Like,
Yeah.
it's insane when you start to really peel back the layers of this movie.
Going back to the performance of the Quint character, when they first get on the boat and he's just kind of being an old dick to everybody, and then you could tell he really
Lovably
doesn't
cantankerous.
like Hooper at all.
Oh, no.
You know,
Well, how much of
they
that
butt
was
heads.
Robert Shaw?
Yeah.
sure, but
It
you could
works
tell,
for the movie.
but that changes over the course of the movie, and you could tell he starts to respect him.
Yeah.
But in that beginning, the way it's like when
City boy!
he yells at him for pulling the wrong side of the rope,
Yeah.
and then Quint's like, just next time, just, you know, like the way he's like kind of like kindly, you know, being nice to him, but he doesn't really like the other guy.
Yep.
And they're kind of laughing and joking, and he's being his like,
He has no respect for Hooper, but he does for Brody because Brody's a sheriff.
sure, but also he's like, he's not from the island, but it's at least he's been there for a little bit, and he's got more reason to be nicer to him,
Sure.
in his mind anyway.
Well, and Chief Brody's not coming in acting. Because here's the thing, though, about Hooper. He's got the knowledge like, you can't
He's
say
got
the
the
man-
college. Yeah, he's got
Well,
the
it's
college.
like-
Well, he
like-
also has experience.
Well, he's a college boy, but he's not a college boy in the sense of like, oh, he's just read books. No, he's got his hands
he's got the
dirty.
experience. Yeah.
That scene where it immediately cuts to he notices the movement on the reel.
Oh yeah,
And he changes instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him going from this, I don't want to say loosey-goosey because that's not
He's
a good...
playful. Yeah.
but he's
playfully
playful.
cantankerous.
But then
Yes.
he goes to hyper-focused into what
Clips
he's doing.
himself into his chair.
Yes.
Puts his feet on the
so
the
subtle
stool.
too.
Yeah.
Very
Like,
subtle. Very subtle.
Very direct body
Mhm,
movement.
mhm.
Like it's not like, oh, I'm pretending that I'm doing this really tensely. It's like, no, this is a seasoned angler.
Mhm. He goes from Quint the captain to Quint the fisherman very quickly.
That's a great way to put it.
But then you look at the Hooper character, right? He comes in and there's this kind of funny back and forth that he has with the different fishermen that are going to be
yeah.
going
He's
out
the
there.
out-of-towner.
Yeah.
And the different things that are going on there. But then when they get to the autopsy scene and they bring out the small tote that has her
Yes.
body in it,
The tote that's literally
and it holds on his face.
2x2.
It holds on his face, and they lift up the thing, and he has a visible reaction to it, but he pushes through and is a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Every cast member works in their own particular way.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lorraine Gary is sort of the MVP because she stuck through this franchise. Outside of Jaws 3, which is kind of a weird movie to talk about, but Jaws 4, she comes back and she's kind of the lead. But she's always giving it her all. And I really think she is one of my favorite characters in this movie. Just because of her performance. Because you can look at her as sort of like, oh, she's a typical wife character. She's not necessarily, like, not a damsel in distress, but, you know, she's on the side. But she still brings so much character.
Well, that's what Spielberg does best. Is
He
character
does.
development.
Well, that's what Jurassic Park, like, when we compare it.
I'll say in terms of her character, maybe it's because I haven't seen the other movies, but she didn't seem like that big of a part of the movie for me. Like,
Fair.
you know, you get the scene where the kid's in the boat and she's like, it's fine, he's on a boat, and then she's thumbing through the
It's
book
one
and
of
she
those
sees it.
funniest
Yeah.
Like, it's
the
a
amount
good
of
performance.
comedy- the amount of comedy in this movie.
But
is
I feel
really
like there wasn't a lot for her to do.
Yeah, I could see that, but I will say that she does.
It's also not about her.
exactly. I think without her, Chief Brody wouldn't have as much humanity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, one of my favorite moments in this movie is the entire dinner scene. You know, when people
You
say
mean when Hooper comes in and
well,
brings
just,
him wine?
Yeah, just everything. You're just seeing these people be normal people in the midst of an actual crisis.
Sure.
And everyone plays it so genuinely, and it's like when you it's kind of funny because we were talking about the book briefly, because the book good on its own, but when you compare it to the movie, it's absolute garbage in my opinion. No offense to Peter Benchley, obviously he did the screenplay with this with Carl Gottlieb.
But with somebody, so maybe
Exactly.
those differences are part of that collaboration then to bring it to a film
Well,
medium.
that's kind
Well,
of,
it's you're also comparing a book to a movie. A movie's got to
Mhm.
be
well, but I mean,
tighter
like,
than a book.
but I
a
mean-
book can expand a lot more on whatever it needs to.
because in the book, the men do not like each other. The camaraderie in the movie is completely gone.
Mhm.
And you find out actually in the book that Hooper had an affair with
with Mrs. Brody.
Mrs. Brody. And it's kind of funny though when you look at the movie with how Hooper and Mrs. Brody are like talking to
Mhm.
each other. There's almost like those weird remnants of that relationship in a weird, subtle way, but it doesn't come off as like overbearing.
No, it just feels like they have a conversation.
But it's just interesting to see like what things kind of creep in from the book.
Sure.
But after that point, the book, because like Quint's fate in the book is entirely different. Like there is no triumphant heroic victory at the end of the book.
Mhm.
The shark dies from natural wounds through the fight with everyone, and Chief Brody's just left alone on the boat, and he just kind of goes back to shore. Quint gets dragged up. He gets Ahabbed.
Mm.
You know, he gets caught on the line with the shark. And spoilers for the book, I guess, but trust me, the movie is the better option. I don't know. It just amazes me, but just even the background characters. I think you said it actually, Mike, best again when you were pointing out, were all these people island locals?
Probably.
Because do they seem like it?
Like everyone, like it genuinely has the best small town feeling of most movies
Mm-hmm.
I've seen. Like genuinely, where it feels like, yeah, these people.
Including the mayor.
Well, the mayor is one of the unsung. Like it's funny, everyone always references the Jaws mayor, but something I appreciate about this movie every time is that people kind of paint the mayor as incompetent when they like.
No, he's doing what's best for his people.
Well, and he's ignorant, but he's not malicious.
He's not malicious, not at all.
Because there are other movies where there's always like kind of like a awful politician character.
Yeah, who's in it for greed or
And
for,
it's like they
for
don't
money
care.
or yeah, right.
As opposed to Mayor Vaughn, like, once the second incident happens, he's...
Yeah.
or-
He told Brody, you can do whatever you want, but those beaches will be open. And Brody did, including a helicopter flying around.
Yeah, well, he's visibly shaken.
Oh, yeah.
After the entire pond incident.
Like you said, his kids were on that beach, too, when everyone had to get out of the
and
water.
that's a line I never really thought about before, how it really does a good job.
Yeah,
of
it affected him,
humanizing.
too.
Well, it humanizes him.
Yeah.
There's also some really funny little things that
Oh,
humanize the
God,
characters.
there were so many funny moments in this
Like,
movie.
There's tons.
the report in the beginning, you pointed out, the way Brody types it up says coroner's report, like turning a corner, not coroner.
I never noticed. I never noticed that before, and I was like, "Is that the power of Blu-ray?" But I was like, "Coroner's report," because again, watch Jaws again, unless they edit it, unless they pulled some sort of
I doubt
Lucas
that.
nonsense.
Highly doubt that they're going to change one little word in a report that Brody's doing on the side.
A special edition of Jaws where they corrected, and there's like a really obvious CGI,
They George Lucas it.
really obvious O.
Like that
Coroner.
may have been just a mistake in the production, but
Or it could have been Spielberg just...
just a funny little
Yeah,
gap
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's not something that like
that you don't need to draw attention to.
Well, and if you do, it's kind of like, well, clearly he was visibly shaken by the fact that
He has a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, he does.
And spelling is pretty low on his list of what's going on.
I mean, I think I always think about the fact that there's like apparently a problem with the kids from the karate class.
Yeah, they're karate chopping picket fences.
Like, that is such a stupid thing, but it's so funny because honestly, when you think about it, yeah, that would be the kind of dumb nonsense kids in the 70s would getting up to.
Yeah, on an island, well, no less.
What else
What else
is-
are you going to do?
Karate chop picket fences,
Yeah,
obviously.
there ain't shit else to do.
Things-
Everyone
Yeah.
likes the beach.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean,
beach town.
It is.
There's a lot of
Summer-
non-islanders there.
Summer dollars.
Yeah, they brought in 2 ferries full of people.
I think there's something really fascinating about the chemistry between all the characters in the movie. Especially, you get that great scene where they're all drinking together and showing
yeah.
off their scars,
Yep.
which leads
Competing
into
with each other.
that really harrowing USS
Oh,
Indianapolis
the monologue.
story.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean, and when you consider the fact that that was probably most people's first exposure to the tragedy that was the Indianapolis,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I don't know.
That is a 100% true story. That
Yeah, oh yeah. There was a movie I think called like something of the Day of the Shark or something that I think had Stacy Keach.
Oh,
in it. Yeah, all I know him as is Titus's dad.
that sounds like a barn burner.
Oh wait, actually, hold on. There was a question that I came up with during watching the movie when we were talking about lovable deputies. Who do you think would win in a fight between lovable deputies? Officer Hendricks from Jaws or Barney Fife? Sorry,
I mean-
dogs.
Hendrix looks like he's got pounds on Fife.
Or Enos
Like,
from Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh jeez. Oh, it's a triple threat match. Triple threat match of who gets to be who gets to be the one true deputy.
Well, the thing with
The
Barney,
OTD.
the thing with Barney Fife is he's so jumpy that he has to keep his bullets in his front pocket because otherwise he'll just shoot people left and right. So he seems like kind of a wild card.
That's what I mean. You don't know. He might have pocket sand on.
Yeah.
I see Barney Fife being like Dale Gribble.
Oh, yeah, he definitely would have pocket sand.
Like, he would have pocket sand. He might have, like,
All the dirty tricks.
Officer Hendricks might be too good-natured, you know?
Yeah.
He kind of seems like a lovable oaf. Like, he'd be like, okay, we're going to have fisticuffs.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of person whose dad was a cop, so he had to be a cop.
Right,
Doesn't really want
right.
to,
I remember,
but
I
he's
always-
just there because his dad, and there's nothing else to do on the island.
Yeah, it's a decent paycheck.
Yeah.
It's a decent paycheck, and honestly, when you consider the fact that there aren't a whole lot of crimes there, it's probably kind of like a pretty okay
Well, considering
job.
it's just him and the chief.
You did point out, Mike, that it is literally two people.
It's two cops.
Yes,
Two cops at the whole island.
Well, you have the receptionist.
Yeah.
You have the receptionist who comes in, Chief.
I don't know if she counts as a cop.
No, but she's part of at least the police.
She's part of the
She's
squad.
she's part of some sort of municipal
Yeah.
figurehead or something.
Another thing that I
Sorry.
didn't know going into this.
Yeah. Because we didn't talk about it a whole lot with you.
No.
Once we found out you'd never seen Jaws, it was one of those cases
Well,
of
you gotta see it.
one of the things that you always hear people talking about Jaws in the context of it being such a scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I had always framed it as being a horror movie, and it's not really.
No.
It's really not.
It is.
So I'd say more of a thriller.
It's sure, but it feels more like an adventure movie to me.
Exactly.
And the musical score, which again, you only ever hear that main shark theme.
Yeah.
But the rest of the score feels so adventurous and fun. And then in that final showdown, you're getting both of those themes layered on top of each other. And is really, really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's kind of the thing about Jaws.
Really kicks you into the movie.
Well, it really kind of paints, like, this very mythical sort of approach to it, where you have these three men battling against nature.
Yeah.
You know, it's three men versus a force of nature that is unpredictable.
Mhm. And new
seeming-
to everyone. New
Exactly.
to Emily Island and new to Quint because he's never had a shark this huge.
On Chief Brody, who clearly doesn't go in the water.
No, yeah.
Doesn't-
He's very much out of his depth, and he
Yeah.
has these two very different kinds of experts
Yes.
Yeah.
that he doesn't necessarily know which one he should rely more on.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like it kind of loops back around to that drinking scene. Like, that's probably one of the few moments of the movie where you genuinely get to see Quint and Hooper both kind of find their common ground, and it's kind of fascinating that it comes from injury.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's a lot of
Injury
tenderness
from
too.
sharks.
It's a lot of what, Mike?
A lot of tenderness.
It's a lot
Like
of tenderness.
they are like
Yeah.
there's like an affectionate level to it
Yeah.
too.
And it's all, again, like you said, because of the injuries brought about by sharks. And that kind of brings to another
Among other,
point.
just sea life in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because Hooper's bite was from a moray eel,
Mhm.
right through his wetsuit.
Yep.
And I had a hard time understanding what Quint was saying through his drunken accent. But what did he get the knot on his head from?
Oh, he got into a fight, I think.
Yeah, I think it was a bar fight.
Yeah, I think a bar fight because the arm wrestling, he can't extend his arm.
Yeah,
He got that from a big
That was from
fella.
arm wrestling.
Arm wrestling in San
Francisco.
Again, it just amazes me how much character they gave to these, like, I don't want to knock on, like, modern movies, but just when I think of, like, how, you know, a lot of things nowadays, it kind of seems like people get really desperate about needing to know all the details.
I 100% agree with that. I'll give you a very specific scene once you're finished.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm just amazed at how much world building Jaws does with these characters who, they're normal men, but when they're telling them, it sounds very much like old fishermen's tales. Like,
does.
larger than life stories about, besides the Indianapolis beach, which is where, obviously, it's serious.
Oh, 100%.
That whole scene.
If it's silent, all it is just Quint talking,
Well, and it
telling
keeps,
a story.
and it keeps cutting back between, like, Hooper in the background. Like, you see him
Yep.
absolutely stunned, and then it keeps doing that particular shot of Brody, where
Who's
he,
also stunned and just listening to Quint.
exactly, like, the facial acting in this movie is amazing to me each and every time, because it really sells just the believability. But you had an example for us, Eric. of, like-
Yeah, so one thing that I have noticed after doing a really good rewatch of this movie is the lack of dialogue. When Hooper is going to go and get the tracker, not a word is said about what he's doing. He abandons Quint to tie up the barrels, to do whatever he needed to do, and not a single word is said.
Oh, you mean when Hooper was getting
When
the
Hooper
shark
was
trap, the shark dart?
get the shark dart and he's walking along the rail of the boat, you have no idea what he's doing. All you know is that he's doing something. Opens up his package, takes out his tracker and his shark dart, and not a single word is said. Take a modern Marvel movie; they'll explain it in 17 different cuts of what's going on. They'll make the audience. It makes the audience a little dumber. But this movie is like, okay, what's he doing? And you figure out what he's doing with not a single word said.
It does seem like this movie trusts its audience
100%.
to understand what the story is going to be.
Yes.
And there's also some things that I noticed that in a movie that was written in a way that was a little bit weaker, there are certain things that would have been different. Like, they made a big point to show the big gash on his son's hand right before all the kids are at the beach. In a lesser movie, they would have had it be his kid get attacked because the blood,
Yeah, right.
you know,
Yeah.
Because it's
attracting
his
it.
kid. Yeah.
Right. Where it doesn't need to be that because he already cares about the community.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be that hyper personal.
Right.
The entire
then-
opening.
His son is in the water on the other side
Yes.
after there's that scare. but it doesn't have to have anything necessarily bad happen to them to motivate him to keep going further.
Right. Right.
It amazes me the amount of restraint, I think, is like, and it's crazy to think about how different this movie would have turned out if the shark worked.
I know.
I
think it would be much worse.
It would be an inferior movie.
It would be a very inferior movie.
You know, I mean,
it just wouldn't work as well. You wouldn't.
Well, it's like one of the most.
It would be more
things.
explaining. It just
exactly.
It wouldn't
well, it's
work.
one of the most common things brought up about Jaws, and I guess what we might as well go into this. There were two recent Godzilla movies that tend to have a lot of, and we've all seen one of them. We all saw -1.
I've seen -1. Yes.
Yeah.
-1 is very good.
Well, and
you can see the obvious references.
Exactly. And again, that's kind of the big thing about these movies, and where these movies that kind of hold their hands, keep their cards close to their chest. There's a whole art to not showing the monster.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what both movies do so brilliantly between -1, for example, and Jaws is they show you the monster in a sense, but they pull it back.
They give it to you in bits and chunks, and then the whole finale you see, everything.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it just amazes me when I think about the amount of restraint this movie held and how much of it was brought about due to technical difficulties. And I think it's kind of fascinating to compare it to -1 now, how even because there was nothing stopping the director of -1 from showing everything he wanted to show, but he took those lessons from Jaws and he knew how to, because there's a balance to it. Because linking it to the other Godzilla movie that we were talking about, Godzilla 2014, the Gareth Edwards Godzilla, it's a divisive one. I'm okay with it. It's not my favorite of the MonsterVerse movies, but I also tend to veer more silly, so I like Godzilla X Kong is my personal favorite. Take that as you will. But I love that movie for how just unabashedly silly it is. Godzilla 2014 is a very interesting one to talk about because some people love that it holds its hand when it comes to showing Godzilla, and other people understandably don't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one.
Yeah, and
I've never seen it.
Well, and your reasons for it are very valid. It's a very strange movie because I think it does certain things good where you can clearly tell the Jaws sort of like keep it close to your chest kind of filmmaking. But it also doesn't succeed in the same way -1 and Jaws do, where it still gives you enough to feel satisfied that you're seeing the monster and it's people's reactions to it, but not enough to where you feel like, okay, it's been spoiled for me.
Right.
I'm very curious when it comes to this movie, though. What are things that they were written one way and then when they got to set, it ends up being different in a happy surprise? Because when I look, again, not knowing anything about his character before walking into this, but everything on paper about the way that the Hooper character describes himself as and other people think of him, I wonder if it was originally written as like, a 6'4" blonde hair, rich Tad Moneybags type of character. And then Richard Dreyfuss brings a completely different feel to that character.
Chaotic sort of like, he's clearly, but like, it's interesting how, something that's kind of funny about Hooper, now that we're talking about in lesser written movies, he'd be the butt of jokes. Like,
sure.
He'd be almost he would be almost a gag character.
He'd be the comic relief.
Exactly. Like,
well, and he kind of is, from Quint's point of view, he's the butt of the joke that part.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing those more through Brody's eyes, and he doesn't see Hooper that way. So it doesn't come off that way.
No,
like,
it doesn't.
Like, you get
because he has to trust Hooper because he's the one who brought in for the expert.
Right.
But they have enough moments of also showing Hooper being competent and understanding exactly what he's doing. And it really paints this really interesting dichotomy between Quint and Hooper, like you said, is sort of like two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
Both obviously have a love of the ocean,
mm-hmm.
or an understanding of the sea,
mm-hmm.
the creatures that live within it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think with Hooper it's more respect, and I think with Quint it's
more revenge.
Exactly. There's that air of vengeance, which I think is understandable.
100%, because
mm-hmm.
he was
but he's not
swimming in an ocean of sharks,
and he's not the thing is, none of these characters are so over the top that it breaks the illusion that these could all be real people.
Well, and it's also, again, the way that it sells the idea of expertise by showing and not telling.
Show and not tell is like the whole theme.
This Jaws is the movie of show, not tell.
The moment they walk into Quint's workspace,
what a cool
and you
shot,
see all of the shark
all the,
teeth.
Yep.
and it's like, oh no, this guy knows what he's talking about. All right, what up? We're in.
Well, like one of the funniest little moments, and I mean, one of my favorite exchanges in this entire movie is of course when Quint wants to see Hooper's hands, city hands.
Yeah.
All good for counting money, and it's like, like I don't know.
Time me a sheepshank.
Like there's just so many of those little character moments that continues to build this. The amount of world building in Jaws.
Well, you can even
for
take
this
that
small
further
town.
to when Quint is drinking a beer and crushes his can,
Oh, God.
and Hooper's got a paper cup and crushes that.
Like, and it's amazing though how in a different movie, depending on how this was portrayed, Hooper would just look like a knob.
Yeah.
But no, he kind of comes off as like this sarcastic, lovable sort of
Shark expert. That's what it is.
Like I don't know, it's amazing how Hooper is a dork. Like
He is. Yeah.
but he has this air about him where it's like he's not afraid to get up close with these people. Who
he's
despise him.
passionate about what he does.
Well, you think about when the guys, he wasn't afraid to tell those guys, like, hey, you know, the chief said.
Yeah.
And when they insult him, he doesn't get huffy. He doesn't act like a clown. He just goes, you're going to die.
Yeah,
like,
we're all gonna die.
he brings, like, this charming sarcasm to that character where Hooper never feels like you said, comic relief. He's
Or when
not.
Brody opens up the wines, you're gonna want that
God.
to
That's Chief Brody is Chief Brody is the quintessential everyman hero.
you're gonna want that to breathe a little bit.
Like everything about his actions and how he carries himself, he plays possibly the best example of a fish out of water who's trying to do his best and just doing whatever he can to maintain.
With whatever he has.
Exactly.
I will say one complaint I have,
Yeah.
if you could call it that, is there's one scene in particular that I don't think was as effective for me as it gets talked about as being effective because of one specific parody of that I have seen.
Okay.
It brought it to mind.
I'm very curious
Okay.
about this. Okay, go for it.
The first attack, the girl in the water.
Yeah.
Okay. The way that she's moving around and flailing around based on the size of the shark, that doesn't make any sense.
Are you gonna reference Ace Ventura?
I am. And that's it, because that's the first thing I thought
know
of.
what? It's
is
not
the
so
way
funny.
he's
It's not so
moving
funny.
around. He's moving around in the tank of water. It's just all I could think of was Ace Ventura, and it lessened the impact of that scene for me.
True.
But that is me bringing baggage into the movie.
Exactly. You're coming at this, but I think it speaks to the movie's credit that despite seeing countless parodies of it,
Yeah.
that was like the only weak point of the movie.
Sure,
for me,
and
in a
you know,
sense.
you get to the part where they're comparing scars, and I think of the same scene that they have in Chasing Amy.
I've never actually seen.
Oh,
Jason.
yeah. There's an extended scene where Jason Lee's character and Joey Lawrence Adams' character are comparing injuries they've gotten while going down on women.
Which I guess when you consider it's kind of ironic because you said it was Jason Lee, right?
Yeah.
And well, no, it was the other character in Mallrats who wanted to propose or get married during the Jaws Universal ride, if I remember right.
Wasn't that also Jason Lee's character?
No, I thought Jason Lee became the talk show host. It was the other guy.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen Mallrats since I was
Me
17.
either. I'm not a big Kevin Smith guy, but
Yeah,
that's
me
like
either.
that's like. Well,
But all of his movies have Jaws references in them, or at least the early ones.
well,
did.
yeah, that's also
Yeah.
Shark. But I just remember that one in particular being one of the more because it's like the character wanted to propose just as Jaws was coming out of the water, and I think it was Jason Lee, whose character is named Brody, if I remember correctly, saying that's the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
Going back, I do remember watching Jaws because I took a picture of that scene on my phone back in the day.
Which one?
The one where the shark pops out of the water.
Oh yeah,
Where
it's-
he's chumming.
I mean, again, one of the most iconic lines. So many iconic lines in this movie. I mean, to the point where, like, it's funny how you could almost look at almost any scene of this movie and find something that parodies it. Rick and Morty, I think it was in the episode where they Cronenberged everything up, where I think it was Summer, the sister, right?
Yeah.
Summer. They were watching. It was in the universe where everything got Cronenberged, and I think Morty's mom and dad were like the last people alive, and Summer was entertaining them by pretending to be in a TV and doing the entire Quint like shark's eyes with like a doll's eyes. I mean, Bob's Burgers had an entire episode. Oh yeah, that's right. Really quick funny aside, my wife did actually make a cake of the iconic
Nice.
chumming scene, and I don't
Yeah.
think it's. I'm always happy to know when people see it for the first time, because I've talked to people who assume Jaws is just a shark movie, and it kind of saddens me how people look at the concept of a shark movie and assume sci-fi.
Right.
And it's like, no.
No.
The beauty of Jaws is the fact that it's an actual movie.
Nothing in this movie is wasted. Everything
No.
has a purpose.
Mhm.
And I always forget how long it is. Like, actually, how long?
It's 2 hours.
Is it 2 hours
Yeah.
exactly?
Can we talk a little bit about comparing character introductions too?
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because this
Oh,
movie
man.
has some of the best
I would
across
say
the board.
I would say there's 4 main character introductions that we need to talk about. One is the shark. This again, the silliness of that was immediately changed when you see that arm covered in crabs.
It
Mhm.
takes itself 100%.
Yes.
And it's like, I think this kind of jumping back to another character introduction, a lesser one, but Officer, I don't even know if I should call him Officer Hendricks, but Hendricks, the deputy.
With the whistle.
Just the way he looks.
Yeah.
He was
You feel
destroyed.
He was-
so,
yeah. He was just so distraught.
like the motion of
Like he's
him-
never seen this before at Amity Island.
Well, and the motion of him just digging in the sand and just not knowing what to
Mhm.
do, it heightens your tension as you're waiting for them to show. And they never do like a big gratuitous scene where it's like
Nope.
the only thing you ever see really is the arm.
Is her arm, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have Brody waking up, and it's this kind of slow. He's just going about his day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This kid's got
Like
the cut
he's
on his
in
hand.
pain already.
Yeah, like he's just tight. He doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily want to be
He's stiff.
here.
Yeah.
So
Parking the car.
You
Mhm.
you wonder why he left New York to go there.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to go into it though.
No.
It doesn't.
It's just, but then you get this great, the phone rings and it's in frame, and he walks up and he grabs it, and it's a different phone
the
that's out
wrong
of frame
phone,
ringing.
yeah.
Which is, why does he have the 2 phones? Is one a direct line?
I would
that's just
assume
from the
so.
police
I would assume
department?
one is the police
you
phone,
only
the other
have-
one's
Yeah.
his regular phone.
Yeah.
When your police department is only made up of 2 people.
Yeah.
Or is that just because I was born in 1987? If you had 2 different phone lines, would you have 2 different, are they different numbers that would go to different phones?
I would assume so,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
would guess.
Because you'd want a direct line to the sheriff in a small
Yeah.
town. Or the
I mean-
chief, I should say.
Or at least for them to get a hold of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't know the difference between how they sound when they ring.
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, subtlety is kind of one of the biggest keys of this movie, for as much as it has those big bombastic kind of moments.
well, and then you have something that's as subtle as a bag of bricks with the nails on the chalkboard
Oh,
when you
yeah.
first meet Quint.
Quint
yeah.
fucking coming
One of
in
the
like-
best character introductions in
I mean, this is one of the
cinema.
best characters in cinema. Everything about that character is so instantly fascinating. Where you could look. I'm not going to say I need to know, but if you wanted to tell me of a movie about a young Quint, there's a part of me that would actually be like, I'm curious at least. Like,
If
you
it's
know?
done right, sure.
Yeah.
One little touch that I appreciated too was you get all of the drunken fishermen, and they've got the when they catch the wrong shark.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's all of this comedic things. Actually, before I get to that, let's talk about Hooper's introduction.
Oh
Mhm.
god.
That's the 4th one, right?
He meets
and-
I think that's Ben Gardner who pulls him up.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And just the way that you could tell he immediately doesn't fit in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
But
not-
he's entertained by the fact that he doesn't fit in.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like, there's no comedic sort of like score to let you know. Like, there's no silly trumpet
No, it's-
sound.
it's
like,
not-
womp,
right.
womp, womp, womp. Like, Hooper comes rowing up on his boat with all of his gear.
No, it's not. It's
Even-
nothing like that.
Even when he asked the guys on the boat that he just told to knock it off,
Yeah.
hey, is there a good place to stay or get a bite to eat? He's like, yeah, keep walking forward. He goes, he kind of has it. It's like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's like, it's so funny to me how Hooper, despite being, again, the theme of fish out of water. Hooper and Brody represent 2 forms of fish out of water, and then Quint is like the seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
But even then, you can almost see, just kind of jumping forward to when the shark starts, like, as things go on, you start to see Quint become unhinged.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, smashing the radio because he doesn't want help.
he starts to become Ahab,
Yeah.
basically.
But he also has the presence of mind to turn to Hooper and say, so what can you do with all this crap?
Exactly.
Right.
Like, it never...
Yeah. He knows he's been
Because
beat.
he trusts
so
him
yeah,
now.
Right.
It, again, restraint. The movie seems to always, like, the more we talk about this, the more I realize every time this movie could commit kind of like a cinema sin, if we have to call it that, of going too far, someone pulls it back.
Mhm.
Like, just before Hooper
And
becomes...
it's someone different in every time that needs to happen.
Yeah.
I'm curious if Spielberg would show the same restraint now.
What was the last movie Spielberg even made?
Lincoln?
The Fabelmans.
The Fabelmans.
Oh, the Fabelmans.
The
That's
Fabelmans
right.
I really enjoyed, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's more of like.
But it was autobiographical.
That's what I mean.
But in the sense of, if we're talking about how much this movie works because the shark didn't,
Exactly.
he's not in a position now where the shark wouldn't work.
Right, because he has everything at his disposal.
Right. So would him now be able to make a movie like this?
I don't think so because
I think he's smart enough that he could.
I don't know,
But I always refer back to the Crystal Skull swinging on the vines scene in Crystal Skull, where it's like, what the hell is going on here?
Was he heavily involved in that one?
He directed it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow, that really says a lot. Now,
And Ready Player One is another one
that's-
that
yeah,
movie
that's
did not work for
I did
me.
not enjoy
I didn't
that
bother
movie.
watching Ready Player One because I
Did not enjoy it.
Yeah,
I also, I really did not enjoy the book.
well,
I didn't read the book.
the movie's the book is a lot of pop culture, like.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, I
That's
say
a-
the movie is too.
Well, but I mean, the book is.
the
reverence.
only accurate way to make a movie version of that book is if 45 minutes in the movie pauses and then you watch the entirety of War Games and then the movie continues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
Oh God.
it's ironic. Just Ready Player One is a movie that I didn't really like. I've had a lot of people recommend me Ready Player One because obviously,
I do think, actually, though, now that I think about it, I think Spielberg did elevate the material in Ready
he
Player
did
One.
because
for
with
sure.
Spielberg, there's a craftsmanship at least. Because you want to know something really funny and also Godzilla related? That movie has one of the best versions of Mechagodzilla, and that is the only movie it exists in. Do you have any idea how much that drives me
That's-
insane?
It's gotta
Isn't
be
it one of the
infuriating.
vehicles in the race scene?
No, there's a big scene where it's like a Gundam is there. It's like a
Yeah.
big battle scene. I think Tracer from Overwatch. But there's this really, really sick Mechagodzilla design that manages... It's an American Mechagodzilla design that doesn't go too far into looking like construction equipment. I didn't mind the one in Godzilla vs. Kong, but it's amazing to me how... I don't know, Ready Player One is such a fascinating movie because I don't think I've ever actually heard anyone talk about it.
There's no real reason to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I remember
it
seeing
just
it.
came and went.
Until you brought it up, I forgot about it.
Yeah, and well, it's the funny thing, you brought it up.
I thought you did.
No,
See,
I
that's
was-
how much I forgot about it.
I was trying to bring it up, but you started talking about how Spielberg wouldn't be able to do it, and I think you're right. Well,
I think his character creation has lacked a lot.
I think so. Something you'll probably hear me talk about a lot is interesting filmmakers will get to a certain point in their career where not enough people tell them no anymore, so they don't have to come up with
Yep.
creative reasons around it.
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
Well, I think one of the biggest examples, even though it's a problematic one, but John Kricfalusi, creator of Ren and Stimpy, everyone kind of realized with the adult party cartoon, which is one of the most infamous moments of like a franchise sort of rebooting itself, everyone kind of realized after the fact that, wow, Ren and Stimpy really mostly succeeded because the censors kind of put them in a position where they had to come up with ways.
Yeah,
Ways around it.
Exactly.
yeah.
And
The censored versions of those
Yeah.
episodes are the superior versions.
well, just when they were censored by Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
like, you can't do that.
Mhm.
yeah,
Because when you let them go loose, it's
it's
like, okay,
dog shit.
this is going too long. This isn't that funny. You gotta pull the joke.
And
yeah.
It really highlights how much of a creep that guy was in his personal life.
Right. That's what I mean, whole problematic discussion. But
Mhm.
again, when I think of like, when you talk about creative minds that are made better, it's one of those cases.
Well, look at
of-
George Lucas and the prequel trilogies.
Yeah, and
he had free reign to do whatever he wanted, and that's what he did.
That's why my philosophy on Star Wars is that it's at its best when it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars is at its best when you're a kid and you're watching it the first time. Anything after that, you're walking in with too much baggage. But that's a conversation for another
That's
day.
a whole other thing, yeah.
Peter Benchley writing with, I believe it was Carl Gottlieb.
I
could
don't
be
know
wrong.
who also wrote the
Who
screenplay.
wrote the screenplay with him? I could be
Should
wrong.
have it on the back of the box there, the little
Okay,
bottom
yeah,
part.
Sorry, give me a second here.
It was Peter Benchley and
Yeah,
somebody
Peter,
else.
Peter Benchley, screenplay by Peter Benchley and Carl Gottlieb. Like, Jaws, the novel, is a very bleak, depressing...
I have heard that it's very depressing.
Oh, it's incredibly depressing. Nobody's happy by the end of it, and it just ends on, like, a dour note.
Mm.
And it's crazy, like, you know, because one of the criticisms I think some people have...
Was the play of the book that it's a modernization of Moby Dick type of story?
Kind of, not really, though.
Okay.
Like, at least I've never really looked deep into it because I've read the book, and it's like one of the biggest changes from the book to the movie is the fact that Mayor Vaughn's reason for keeping the books open is because of the mafia.
Oh my god.
He has mob ties, like there are mafia ties, where
The movie makes it so much simpler.
Which makes sense for small town summer businesses,
Yeah.
cash businesses.
Yeah.
and I mean, but I think removing that and making the mayor more of a human character, like there is literally a scene where, and this is where I said like, oh, I don't like this book, where a mafia hitman kills a kitten in front of the Brody kids, and I'm like,
What?
Peter, like the book.
Oh my god, this sounds
The
terrible.
book is a very bleak, very mean-spirited thing, and if you remove it from the fact that there's this brilliant movie that turns into like this big camaraderie between, you know, people coming together, like, you know, Jaws is very much it's a heroic story,
This is very heroic. Yeah.
like, and when you compare it to the book, which I'm sure was fine beforehand, because there are genuinely some brilliant moments of writing in the book, like the way the shark attacks are written are genuinely scary.
Okay.
Like they draw you in. It's just
Well, there had to have been a reason that the movie was made in the
Exactly.
first place.
Right.
A year after the book came out.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I mean, it's fascinating because especially when you compare that with another, you know, particular Spielberg movie, Jurassic Park.
Right.
Like, consider the fact that Hammond, yeah, I always forget his first name, but you know,
John Hammond.
John Hammond, the owner of the park in the book, totally different character. He is an awful human being. He does not care about the kids. He just wants a profit.
Mm.
He actually, the Compy scene in Jurassic Park 2,
Yeah, the very beginning.
a movie I fucking despise.
I love that movie.
I hate that movie. I genuinely despise everything about that movie, and I think it was I think it was the beginning of the end for Jurassic Park as a franchise, personally.
Wow, the second one?
Because you know, I think one of the biggest things I remember my sister saying when we went to go, because Jurassic Park came out in '94, right?
93.
Was it '93?
Mm-hmm.
But that was our generation's Jaws in a sense.
Sure.
Huge step forward for special effects.
Yep.
Timeless.
Doing what you can with what you had.
Well, and what they had was ILM,
Right.
who
did everything.
I watched the T-Rex escape scene again. That is still
Oh,
holds
man.
up as one of the
so good.
tensest, most
Mm-hmm.
like,
Jeff
I don't-
Goldblum in the back of the Jeep.
Just everything about it is just tense and scary. And I think when I compare Jaws and Jurassic Park, the big components that are missing from every future sequel, and Jaws is the same deal. You know, I've seen people try to claim that Jurassic Park is a horror movie. I disagree.
No, I don't think it's a horror movie at all.
It's a movie. Like I make the kind of the
Jurassic Park's an adventure movie.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Spielberg
He loves
makes
adventure.
adventure
Yes.
movies. That's
yes,
his
he does.
thing.
Well, Indiana Jones.
I mean, he almost did Commando Cody. We almost, if the Rocketeer didn't exist, Spielberg might have made his Commando Cody.
He doesn't just make adventure movies. Obviously,
But
he
he
has
clearly-
dramatic ones
Yes,
as well.
I mean,
Clearly
Schindler's
has a
List.
passion.
yeah.
Right.
He has
But-
a passion for adventure.
but
Empire
If-
of the Sun.
If he's making something that is supposed to be fun, he's gonna lean towards adventure. Catch Me If You Can
I still
Oh
need to
my
see it.
god, it's such a great. It's
is
a
an
good movie.
adventure movie.
It's a very good movie.
I'll admit-
I'm not a big fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, but I love Tom Hanks though.
Aren't all of his aliases in that movie Flash?
Based
alter
off of a
egos?
comic book, yeah.
Yeah, because there's one of his Barry Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I always wanted to see it because I love Tom Hanks.
It's
like
very
most
good.
people.
It's a very good watch.
They're both great in it.
Yeah, like the funny thing is Spielberg. Like the more I think about it, he undercuts like the things like the horror and the tension with those little moments of humanity and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Chief Brody throws the rocks at the window to get Hendrick's attention.
Yeah, he just
And
turns and
Hendrix
just like a goober
smiles,
just waves
yeah,
at him.
smiles and
It's like-
waves.
it's so stupid, and it's that release. You're laughing, and you like these characters. You don't want to see anything happen. To
But
them.
there's also a straight line between Hooper and Dr. Ian Malcolm
oh,
in terms of
yeah.
Oh yeah,
cool, fun scientist nerd.
right.
You know,
And I mean, I guess technically you could say Muldoon and Quint,
absolutely.
like
Sure.
and Grant and Brody. you
Yeah.
know?
I never really put them together.
Yeah, I never really actually, as much as I haven't watched Jurassic Park in a long time.
Oh man.
But I don't know, Jaws. I'm really happy that you enjoyed it, Mike, because something that's going to be kind of like something that I think is going to lead to some really interesting episodes of this, but I'm actually nervous about is when someone shows a movie that they're really passionate about,
Oh man.
and then at the end, what'd you think? That movie sucked.
Yeah. No, it's gonna happen.
I
It
know.
could happen.
I'm waiting
Yeah.
for
We
it.
have a whole list of movies to go through.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I
excited.
am.
it's gonna.
You know which one I'm waiting for. Honestly,
Which one?
I can't wait to see you guys both getting mad at me because I make you watch Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh God!
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Linking
man.
it together, Spielberg shows up in Blues Brothers.
He does in the
He's
first
he's
one.
the clerk,
He's
right?
the
Yeah.
he's the
clerk
tax
at the end.
clerk.
Yeah.
It always see, looping it back around. You are the first person.
Oh,
singers
it is
and
my
stuff.
all-time
Yeah.
favorite movie.
Well, when I was showing clips to my individuals because they were talking about Aretha Franklin. And
Sure.
I will. My favorite part of watching Blues Brothers for the first time with you and Paloma, Mike,
Yeah.
your wife,
Because she had never seen it
She'd
before.
never seen it.
it
Yeah.
was how infatuated she was with Blue Lou.
Oh yeah, Blue Lou's hair. Yeah.
Just everything about Blue Lou, and it's funny watching that clip again with him in the restaurant with Aretha Franklin because he's such a goober, just sitting there looking. Well, go on then.
Yeah.
And he just like grabs his stuff and runs off.
And you know
Adorable.
what? There's a scene just like that in Blues Brothers 2000.
I can't wait.
Oh come on!
It's yeah, like I said, the whole.
All right, I'll have to watch it now.
I mean, I actually think, Mike, now that you've kind of seen Jaws, you should really look into some of the behind the scenes stuff. The documentary.
I've seen a lot of it. That's
Oh,
the thing.
really?
Like it's the same thing with like before I saw Citizen Kane. I had known a lot about it because I just like film history.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
you can't watch, anything about the greatest films ever made and skip over people talking about Jaws. It's just part of it.
Right.
So again, I'd seen all these little pieces, new things, but without the context of seeing the full
The
story.
whole story woven in
and
between it.
actually going back, so a little detail, what I was going to say earlier, you have all the drunken people talking, they catch the shark, and then there's that little moment where the boy's mother comes up, and she's like,
Oh, I don't think that's little. I think that stirs the whole
no,
movie.
but
That brings the
but
movie on.
I mean, in terms of like, it's a quiet scene.
oh yeah, very.
you know,
quiet.
it's not, you're moving from this boisterous fun thing to
Loud,
just,
quiet, loud.
you
Mhm.
knew about this.
Yep. She slaps the shit out of him.
And he's not gonna, he doesn't even go to defend himself. Like, I tried and they wouldn't let me. He just takes it.
He takes
Well,
it.
and one of
He
the best-
takes it right on literally on the chin.
And the mayor immediately dismisses her.
Mhm.
As soon as she walks away, he goes to Brody, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
If she does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's kind of the fascinating thing about Brody is that he's an everyman character and he just keeps kind of rolling with the punches in such an endearing way. Like, people sometimes have issues at the end of this movie because of how unbelievable it is, and I get that. But to me, it is the payoff to Brody's character arc in such a big way.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds almost kind of morbid because it's him basically slaying the beast.
But he's slaying it in water that he does not like.
Well, that's what I mean. You have a character completely. And it's like they do an amazing job because the score starts swelling. Like,
Mhm.
that is genuinely one of those like get up and almost like cheer moments in a movie. The fact that he misses a couple times,
Yeah.
like they do an amazing job of not having it be a moment of Brody finds his confidence. No, you are watching a man's last desperate struggle because if he misses, that's it.
That's it.
That's
He's-
the end.
Yeah.
You
He's
know-
getting eaten.
When you guys are talking about the way that the book is,
Yeah,
and how it's just kind of like a schlocky little fun shark book.
kind of. Yeah,
Right.
like they were. Peter Benchley was clearly trying to write a tale of suspense,
Sure.
and he did a great job.
Right. And then they option it for a movie right away and it gets made. There's no way anyone involved in this movie could have thought that 50 years later they'd be having re-releases.
And
Like, there's no way they
there's
could have
no
imagined
way.
it being
There's
a big
absolutely
thing.
Spielberg
no
was
way.
convinced for a period of time.
He was almost
this
ready to
it.
quit directing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it was a nightmare.
So
Yeah.
it's the movie was made not just understanding how big it was going to be, but understanding it was the first blockbuster. So they didn't even think about it in those terms.
No.
Which is why I think the movie is so successful, as opposed to a lot of modern movies that have to be
They have to
big whiz bang
Exactly.
action.
Every movie has to set the bar higher. Yeah,
Right.
I get it.
Well, and I mean, one of the most fascinating things about Jaws is the fact that we should really watch this actually for this show, possibly. Duel. Duel was the made-for-TV movie that Spielberg did before Jaws that is essentially
I love the semi in that.
Jaws in a truck.
Yeah.
It's Jaws, but the shark is a truck, and I
Mhm.
believe that's Dennis Weaver. I can't remember I
I
could be
don't
wrong,
know.
but Duel, kind of plays off that whole fear again, holding your hand, Like, you're not revealing your cards right away. You're holding things back, and you're creating this tension that you keep ratcheting up more and more and more. And it's crazy how that...
And the payoff is just so unbelievable.
Exactly.
The payoff is just so great.
Well, that's...
Like you said, Brody getting his revenge on... Well, not revenge.
It's a triumphant moment.
Yeah, conquering everything.
Exactly. Even when you start thinking about the family stuff. Like, I think one of the most brilliant scenes in this movie that still gets me to this day is when Brody is sitting there with his youngest kid, Sean.
At the dinner table, yeah.
It's such a quiet scene. And it does such an amazing job.
Brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it just makes...
It breaks the tension. It humanizes, like you said, humanizes all your characters. Yeah.
Like, there are no
like,
characters...
there's stakes here with these people.
There are no characters that you look at and go like, oh, that's going to be a victim.
Right.
Like, even Chrissy Watkins, who's just in the beginning... You don't look at her and go, okay, it's not like the horny teens in Friday the 13th movies.
No.
Where you're like, okay, these characters are clearly just...
They're on screen to be killed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, Chrissy, you felt bad. She was having a good
time. She was swimming out there.
A bunch of kids were having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's another conversation, too, about how a lot of those slasher flicks had weird... I mean, to my mind anyway, weird puritanical viewpoints where it's like these kids are doing the things that deserve to be killed for.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's...
Right. So they deserve to die.
Right.
Yeah.
Which also those came later, too, than Jaws.
Actually, Mike, I want to know, because I know we touched on it briefly, what were your thoughts on the entire Indianapolis scene? Because that's like...
It's a fantastic monologue. Like, it is... The tone shift from them just kind of drunkenly, literally having their legs wrapped all over each other and taking it, having a drink together. And he's still giving this monologue where he took his false tooth out. So he's got that goofy look to him, but you don't register it as such because it's so sincere.
Yeah. Took his hat off and everything.
Yeah. And it's that idea of sincerity goes really far with me. And it's an incredibly sincere performance. It's very believable.
It was very believable. Like,
just
Robert Shaw was in the water on Indianapolis.
Yeah, like you would believe everything about this game. World building.
Absolutely.
Like the amount
to its peak world building.
The amount of world building in this movie to where you can look at a character like Hooper and go, yeah, I know this guy.
Right.
I know what this guy's all about.
I know what Chief Brody's about.
Yeah, like again,
it's so good.
Chief Brody, I think, ranking as one of my favorite like protagonists in a film, just because he's the everyman, but it's not like it's like he doesn't become just suddenly, oh, I found my confidence and now I'm ready to fight the sheriff. No, it is a desperate.
Yeah.
It is a desperate.
Every move he makes is like, I hate this.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good way to put it. I hate being on this boat.
I know.
I hate being dealing with the shark.
Can we go home now?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Please, can we go get a bigger boat?
Right. Yeah.
Do you think
he says that multiple times?
Do you think the movie would have gone different if they went and got a bigger boat?
Probably not.
I don't think it probably worked.
There's also, I mean, just a specific line that I thought was funny. There's something very, very funny to me about Hooper playing solitaire on the deck, and then he's going to quit playing with yourself.
Genuinely, there are some pure comedic bits in this movie, and some of them are just so bizarre because, like, there are points where it feels almost like a Zucker Brothers movie because, like, there is a deleted scene I couldn't find, but there is a character who Jaws fanatics love. It's that weird old man.
The one that I pointed at when he came out, when he walked out of the store.
He's got a pipe. He's got a pipe. He's got groceries underneath his arm.
But there is a deleted scene where it cuts to it's complete. I understand why they cut it, but it's also one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It cuts to a scene of him sitting there on the dock, and he's facing the camera. Full-on facing the camera, and he's smiling, and he's in the middle of eating his cereal, and some guy behind him falls off the dock. It is like a Naked Gun bit. It just happens. I remember seeing it and going,
I remember seeing that too. What the hell?
What
is going on?
You look at
it's like from a different movie,
and you know he lives there.
Oh, he's going out there to watch
because
these clowns.
Also, you could tell he was told, just walk out of the store and walk over to the side. And he walks out and he's looking directly in the camera the whole time. He's got a big smile on his face. And then he just kind of walks over to the side. And it's just like we got to keep that. Yeah. That's funny.
Well, it's endearing. It makes you care about that town. Like it doesn't seem like
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like a town full of assholes.
Which is why the mayor, I mean, you don't see him as a villain.
No.
Because you just see him as a guy who's trying to run his town.
Like
And the 4th of July is huge for these people.
he has a little bit of sleaze about him, but it's not malicious.
It's not
sleaze.
malicious. It's just
I mean, Quint also has a little bit of sleaze about
yeah,
him,
I
too.
mean,
Yeah.
not more like a lot of it.
He would kill that shark for fun, but he's going to get his
but
money.
He's gonna it's gonna get the townspeople for $10,000,
Care more
Yeah.
about
which
my,
in 1975 was huge.
I care more about my
For a
investment
small
than I do
town like that,
$3,000.
yeah.
Yeah, like he knows.
Yeah,
But and again, in another movie that would have made Quint seem like the bad guy, you'd be rooting for him to die, but you don't.
no,
Again, there's always
because
that moment
I
where
know it's
they push a character just far enough to where they're veering on the verge of parody, and then they
Mhm.
pull it back at the right moment.
Mhm.
yep.
And how much of that is it's a culmination because it's performance, writing.
Editing.
Yep.
I remember seeing something where they were talking about how whenever you see the fake shark on screen, if it went for 2 more frames, the shot is ruined.
Exactly.
Yes,
The
yes.
shark is uncanny almost,
Mm-hmm.
but it still remains terrifying
but-
because you never get a clear look.
That's the point of editing also. It's what you put in and what you take out.
Mm-hmm.
It's this performances are sculpted by the editors, and it's something that people don't talk about enough when they talk about how successful a movie is.
I mean, editing is the big reason Mad Max Fury Road is as good as it was.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Like,
100%.
that was George Miller's
yeah.
wife, I believe, who did the
It
editing.
was.
And to make that much sense out of that much chaos in that kind of movie, because I can imagine George Miller just went nuts and was having fun recording everything that was on happening in front of him, because you have the Doof Warrior,
You had
Yeah.
the War Boys, the
Yeah.
Bullet Farmers.
And
all these cars on.
but again, those technical things are so important. But
Yeah.
if the story's not there, it doesn't matter.
it falls flat. Yep.
There's a John Waters had said something, and I don't have the exact quote, but it was to the effect of, if you walk out of a movie talking about how incredible the cinematography is, it probably wasn't a very good movie. If that's what you're left with
Right.
immediately at the
That's
end.
That's what
yeah.
your takeaway from it was.
I'll admit, John Waters, I love the man, his movies, not for me, but
Fair?
his sense of just
Fair.
film and his appreciation of his openness to be who he is.
I can say I've never
Yeah.
seen a John Waters movie.
They are. I attempted. I think I got. Maybe I wasn't ready for it. It was when I was a teenager, but I tried watching Pink Flamingos, and I had to tap out. I was like, I got to come back to this one. I maybe have had more sneeze experience. I think I jumped into
I'm not old enough for this, you guys.
I think I jumped into the deep end too quickly. I was like,
Yeah,
oh
Pink-
boy, that is
I would call Pink Flamingos the deep end.
yeah. This is I do like how this show has already made its worth by having a very in-depth discussion about Jaws somehow veer into John Waters territory.
Well, it made
That's-
water scary for everybody.
That's true.
It all comes back to the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's only an island if you look at it from the sea. So how did you feel about that line after seeing it in the context of the movie? Because before we were watching it, I dropped it, and Mike kind of went like,
Well, that's
not
a dumb
true."
thing to say.
Yeah, Mike
And-
called me a doofus.
And also, Richard Dreyfuss says the exact same thing right after. He's like, I don't think it works that way.
Yeah. Keep in
God.
mind, Brody was drunk on a whole glass
Yes,
of wine.
That's one of the
Yes.
subtle things about that scene that I never really appreciated was just
How drunk he is the whole
how
time.
drunk he
The
was.
fact that he's got the-
He's even said, "I'm not drunk enough to go on a boat."
But the fact that he has the wine bottle with him and he's wearing this life vest
Yeah.
and it's not even like properly strapped on, he doesn't. It
He's a
amazes.
fish out of
I'm
water.
going to be honest with you. I wasn't sold on that scene of him putting on his gear and going
Oh, the
down to the
jump
boat
scare?
and the face with the
Ben
wormy things
Gardner.
coming out of the
That was
eyes.
Poor old Ben
Mhm.
Gardner.
I don't know. Didn't work for me.
That's fair.
Really? Okay.
That's-
And I forgot about it until we just kind of brought that up too.
I mean, that's fair. I know
That's okay.
That tends to be.
So
regarded
what didn't
as-
work for you in
yeah,
that scene?
Like if you would have
Because
done
it's
that,
like the big
hold
jump
up.
scare of the.
If you would have done that scene, Mike, what would you maybe have changed, or what would you maybe have
Honestly,
considered?
I think the movie is so tight, that scene doesn't do that much to move it forward. You could cut most of that out.
They give a lot of information in that scene, though.
They do.
If you take the scene as a whole.
But even if you cut out them finding the body, you can jump to that conclusion with the ship being wrecked and him finding the tooth. You don't... I think that's the only gratuitous gore or violence in the movie that you didn't really need.
Fascinating. No,
True.
I can see it.
I can see it. Yeah.
I'm actually curious to know now, like, if you do remove, because I do actually get it, but I also think that movie was all. I almost wonder how much of that was like, we need to put something in the movie to really grab people by
Right.
the balls.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Because
I mean, I would say far more effective than that, the leg falling into the sea.
oh yeah,
Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
you see it sinking
Yeah, yeah.
down. Like, that worked. That looked great.
and it was terrifying because it was very quick, very
Mhm.
well. And that's,
Less is more.
well, that scene, that shot in particular is one of the, like
Oh, the overhead with the shark in
Yeah.
the water? That's one of my favorite scenes.
one of the most terrifying, like just.
Where you just have like the best shot of the size of
Yeah.
the shark. Yeah.
I mean, again, and it's one of those brilliant moments where, yeah, a shark is a real thing.
So,
we know what a shark is,
if-
but it's obscured enough
If
to where
the shark is 25 feet, as Quint said,
Mm-hmm.
then the boat's what, 35? 40?
Which one?
the orca.
The orca.
The orca? Yeah, probably a 40-footer.
And the way that it was towing them through the water.
Yep. Another one of my great, where it's towing them backwards.
Yes.
It's pulling the boat backwards against the waves.
Was the motor on at that point?
Yeah, they were full throttle.
Okay.
Because obviously the shark is a little exaggerated.
It is.
but it works. It creates a mythical sort of, again.
But they kind of explain that. It's a
They
rogue
do.
shark.
Yeah.
He's here just to feed.
You rang the dinner bell.
Yeah.
One thing I did think of is when the shark blows up at the end,
Yeah.
I wonder how much of its blood attracted the other sharks that are in the area too.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah.
yeah.
They just saw the king shark's head explode, so the rest of them were like,
Oh,
I ain't
okay.
dealing with this.
No.
We'll
No.
move on in
They
future.
took him out. I'm not gonna take out.
actually, hang on. If we're talking about the whole territorialism thing, he would have pushed all of the other sharks out of the area.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't
That's
have been
true.
an
So
issue.
it's just been him.
Yeah, I
King
mean,
shark,
and they killed the other one. So,
Yeah.
the tiger shark.
yeah.
Tiger shark, yeah.
The what?
The what?
One of the. There are so many.
Goofy townsfolk.
The townsfolk make Amity come alive so much. Like, Jaws has been adapted into video games quite a few times. I'm actually a big defender of the NES game, which is based on Jaws 4, but it's also a very simple, very straightforward game.
Was it a tie-in when the movie came out?
No.
Okay.
Well, Jaws.
It's weird that they based it on 4.
Well, the funny thing is, Jaws, the NES game, is in the shop in Back to the Future 2.
Never paid attention.
It's part of memorabilia because I remember seeing it because.
What, just the cartridge?
Yes, the cartridge.
Oh.
Like it's a simple game. It was produced by LJN, so people of course assume, but I actually enjoy it for the most part. But it's like I think about how just kind of linking this to my knowledge of video games and just how much I'm into that aspect of it. I've played a lot of different Jaws games. Like there was Jaws Unleashed where you play as the shark, which was
I
fun.
remember that, yeah.
Fun for what it is.
Right.
Maneater was another game that came out a couple years ago that kind of played into it too. But I think one of the biggest aspects of a Jaws game that they kind of forget about, I would like to see Jaws as a point-and-click adventure game.
Are you the shark?
No, but could you imagine it being like one of those old LucasArts point-and-click games where you have to go around to Amity and go... Could you just imagine how fun it would be to interact with the townspeople?
You mean if you're buying materials to make signs?
Well, that's what I mean. If you go through that and you get to experience kind of I think that would actually be really fun.
I didn't play a lot of the LucasArts ones, but I definitely played the Sierra point-and-click games.
And same thing.
Same concept.
Same concept. I just think that's kind of one of the things. It's almost kind of like The Simpsons in a sense where
the town kind of builds
the town is its own character.
Right.
There are so many stories in Amity where I actually am I referenced, speaking of The Simpsons, one of the big references that I made earlier was, before we were talking about the movies, when are they going to get to the fireworks factory?
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of the brilliant thing. Most people, when they talk about shark movies, they talk about, well, when the shark finally shows up, it's good. It's almost like, again, linking it to Godzilla. Oh, well, most Godzilla movies, I disagree with that notion. I think good Godzilla movies make
Or
you
about
care.
the people.
Yeah, or about that.
Well, they balance
They
it.
build it up.
That's why Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, which neither of you have seen, from what I understand.
I've seen very few Godzilla movies, but I loved Godzilla -1.
See, And I want to show you Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla because I think that is one of the best Showa era movies, like the early movie, like the 70s movies. That one does a brilliant job of it's schlocky. I'm doing the air quotations in the sense that it's a versus movie. The big draw is Godzilla fighting another monster, but the human cast is actually likable. You care about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the big thing about Jaws. Again, it's like you're not watching these characters waiting for them to get on the water so they can get eaten. You want to see them succeed. You want these characters.
You're interested in to see what they're doing next.
You're invested. There are stakes.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why when it gets down to that point where you think Hooper's dead and Quint dies and Brody's just alone
by himself
facing this
on a sinking boat.
That's one of the most terrifying aspects of that movie to me is the fact that, like, obviously Jaws is sort of like where thalassophobia really kind of began as a thing, I think, before most people even knew what it was called. But it's fascinating how much that movie has embodied game design nowadays with games that really thrive on that feeling of the unknown. And, a lot of games try to capture that vibe that Jaws has where you're on a boat, you're alone, and you're surrounded by just miles of water.
Oof.
Also, the ending of this movie implies that they're fine.
Yeah.
But you don't see them make it back.
Well, Jaws 2...
Yeah.
I understand, but I'm saying just this film as it is, it's a heavy implication, but...
You never know.
Yeah, even with the flotation, barrels,
right?
That's a lot to get back from.
I mean,
but you believe that it's possible
because you just watched these guys survive. Genuinely battling one of nature's most powerful creatures.
They had to be up for 24 hours,
right?
Exactly.
But they've already conquered nature, so they'll be fine.
Restraint is like the big key word, and how much
restraint and the score.
Well, I mean, I think anyone would. We kind of touched on this, but the brilliance of the Jaws score is obviously the hook.
Right.
The hook that builds up to it. But then I was really excited when you picked up on this, Mike, because one of my favorite scenes in this movie is when they're preparing the shark cage. Mm-hmm. And the score kind of kicks in, and it's very man on a mission.
Yeah, they're ready to do work.
I am a sucker for a let's build a clubhouse scene in any movie.
And that one, you know what? That's that's a good.
They're definitely building a clubhouse, and it gets destroyed.
And it's got the strings kick in, and it's a particular heroic score where it's not the epic score that the adventurous score. It's like no, these guys
it's man
are
on a mission.
Yeah, man on a mission. And then it knows when to get somber. John Williams really... I mean, what can you say about John Williams?
That score really only presents itself once the three of them are together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before that,
it's just the single... It's the famous...
Like the island theme. Amity has kind of a particular island theme to it where it's very small town. Any town USA. It's got that nautical kind of... feel to it where this is an island town. These are a bunch of sea folk, these are, like you said, islanders. When do you become
townsfolk?
When do you become an islander? If
you have to be born here.
You have to be born here.
Yeah, you can't. And again, characters that you just kind of are curious about, like that one woman who was always seen talking to the Brodies. She had the black sort of short hair.
I think she owned a shop somewhere in town.
But then she was in the scene.
But she was in the water, too.
But she was also in the scene when Quint introduces himself. Clearly she must be some higher ranking...
Yeah, she was sitting at the town meeting.
In the community.
She could be, like a...
concerned citizen?
Or like an alderman type
position.
Yeah.
World building.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep coming back to that because it amazes me. A lot of movies do small towns really well.
And she's on screen for, a minute total?
Actually, quite a few times, actually.
But little spurts.
Well, she's in the background normally.
Yeah.
Like when her and Brody are just having that conversation, or when her and Ellen Brody are having that conversation.
Yeah.
And in the foreground, you have Chief Brody sitting there just kind of staring
watching
at
the water.
I can't remember the exact details because it's been a while since I've been on my Jaws kick where I was just consuming every possible bit of media about the film and the franchise because the film sequels have their own history to them too, like how Jaws 3 was almost a National Lampoon movie called Jaws 3.
That movie looks so bad.
What?
Jaws 3?
Jaws
3D?
No, Jaws 3 People Zero.
What?
Okay, so I get to go into... All right. Balls in Andy's court now. When they were getting ideas for Jaws 3, And I
Clearly, 3D was the thing.
No, but they originally wanted it to be a National Lampoon movie. It was going to be called Jaws 3 People Zero. The opening scene was going to be Peter Benchley getting attacked in his swimming pool by a shark. And it was going to be about a movie team, a movie crew, making a Jaws movie and getting picked off by a shark.
Oh my God.
And it was going to have all these The script is out there. I didn't read the entire script, but the poster for it is great because it's exactly what you'd expect. It is an Animal House-like painting with the iconic
With
shark.
like caricature.
Oh, caricatures. Jaws has sunglasses on.
Oh
and
my God.
I think he has a cigar in his mouth.
Oh my God.
It's funny, and I kind of almost wonder, like, I want to know. I always like to think, when I think about movies in particular, I always like to think, what would the timeline be like if this movie came out? And I wonder what the Jaws franchise would be if Jaws 3 People Zero came out. It's the same way I think about it. What would have happened if Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was actually well received like it should have been and caused Halloween to go into an anthology like kind of direction.
Or even like
Jaws was almost an anthology.
The Child's Play 1, 2, and 3
Oh yeah.
were like funny-ish, but pretty straight horror movies.
Yeah.
And then
First one
after
in
that,
particular.
they were campy humor.
All made by the same guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really happy, Mike, that you enjoyed your first viewing of Jaws.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
as
No.
a film
Like I
classic.
said, the only reason I hadn't seen it is just because
Oh,
I
yeah.
hadn't gotten around to it yet.
So I guess closing lines, I think we've kind of touched on a lot of our feelings about Jaws. I mean, I could always go on more, but...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I definitely see why it's such as loved of a film as it is.
It's a perfect example of show not tell. They do so much on the screen that you don't even need dialogue.
I would also put it with, like, in my mind with something like a Die Hard type movie where it is this.
Yes.
And there's not really any fat on it.
Right.
And it just...
This is the
Clean
situation.
movie. Yeah.
You're in the situation.
Yeah.
How
And
much
it just...
of that movie takes place on a boat? A single boat.
Die Hard?
Yeah, Die Hard. We don't want to show. Speaking of restraint, I guess we should probably end it so we don't just tell everybody what movies we're doing. So thank you all for joining us. This is.
Well, what's your closing lines on Jaws?
Oh,
I
I
had
mean-
show not tell.
I mean, to me, it's like, you know how when we watched RRR,
Mm-hmm.
and my response after the movie was, "That's just a movie.
Yeah.
It's not an action movie. It's not a musical. It's just, do you like movies?
It is all of those things.
Do you like movies? Watch this movie." I guess it is time to end the inaugural episode of the You've Seen This Right podcast. Is that what we decided to call it?
You've seen this, right?
Yeah, you've seen this, right? Join us hopefully next time as we find another movie one or two of us haven't seen. All right, so let's sign off, everybody. Again, this has been Andy.
Eric?
And Mike.
We hope to see you all next time on the You've Seen This, right? podcast. Thank you for joining us.